Hey adventurers, ever wonder what are the absolute essentials to have with you when you go out on the trail? Whether it's for geocaching, hiking, or snapping some great photos, I'm going to break down for you what's in my bag every time I go out. I'm also going to give you some pro tips on where you can find those things for yourself. All right, let's go for an adventure and learn a little bit more about what's in my bag to go. All right, folks, so the first thing we're going to cover off is what we call EDC, or everyday carry items. So with me, the number one thing I always have with me, regardless of where I'm going or what I'm doing, is my Popov Leather Field Notes cover, which of course is not just the cover, but it is also the Field Notes book itself. I'll put a link to not only the Field Notes cover, but also the Field Notes books themselves. This is a super high quality. Not only does it look awesome, but it holds up and it does a great job of protecting my field notes. I take all kinds of notes in here. It is super useful, whether it's geocaching notes, whether it's to-do lists, just all kinds of stuff. So definitely this is number one on my list, my Popov Leather Field Notes cover. Because even in the digital age, sometimes good old pen and paper are just the best tools for the job. Now, speaking of pen and paper, another thing, as you saw with the Field Notes cover, has this cool loop where I keep a pen in there all the time. Well, I always carry a few pens on me, and the number one pen that I love to use is actually a Sharpie S-Gel pen. Now, again, I'll have a link to where you can get these for yourselves. Very economical, great, writes on almost everything. And here's the catch. If you have the Write in the Rain paper, these are not great for that. You're going to want a different type of pen for the Write in the Rain paper. But for basically any other type of writing and paper and permanent marking, these Sharpie S-Gel pens are fantastic. And on that note, another thing I like to carry is an actual fine tip Sharpie. You just never know when you need to mark something up. So those are the two pens besides the one in my notebook cover. These are the two I always have with me. Now, another everyday carry item that I cannot go without, particularly for geocaching and photography, is my portable charging block. So I use an Inui portable charging block. This one is fantastic. It has some cool features, including an actual digital display showing you how much power is left in the block itself. Really handy. I'm currently at 100%. This is essential because really, let's think about it. A dead phone means no GPS, no maps, no geocaches, no photos. You got to keep the phone charged these days. This one, again, I'm going to put the link in the notes below. I highly recommend this Inui charger. And another thing that I'm going to throw out here for EDC, everyday carry, is definitely the smartphone itself. Now, we have a Samsung phone that we use. It's an S21. It's an older model now, but it still works great. The key thing about it, though, that I'm going to highly recommend is a good case. You want something that's a little bit shockproof. Now, I happen to use the OtterBox cases. There are other great cases you can get, including Pela cases, P-E-L-A. Those are manufactured right here in British Columbia. Great option. Now, adventurers, one more thing that falls under EDC, or everyday carry, and that is my trusty pocket knife. Just like my field notes, this is something I never leave home without. I happen to use a Gerber knife. Now, crazy story, I got this knife on sale at a Canadian Tire as a clear out. So really, it just goes into the top pocket, in the front of the jeans. It's always there, super useful. Whether it's opening boxes or opening snacks, there's always a use for a good pocket knife. All right, adventurers, the next set of items on our list are safety items, and these are really important things to consider when you're going out. Now, this is not an exclusive list, because definitely make sure that you bring enough water for your hike wherever you're going. Make sure you bring some snack foods and all that kind of stuff, but that's not like everyday carry what goes in the bag, although I guess a water bottle should be. I'll talk some more about that in a moment, but moving on from that, the first thing that I'm going to mention is something that you should really consider is having a first aid kit. Now, I will put a link into a first aid kit. What I've done though is I've actually curated my own first aid kit, and I'm going to add a few of the items that I really think you should make sure are in a first aid kit. And this has been put together over years of experience, finding what things do I just never use, pull them out. Things that I use frequently or I have used, then definitely keep them in and replace them. The other thing is, it's spring. This is the perfect time to refresh your first aid kit. Go through, are there expired items, ointments, or even bandages that are just too old and they're not going to stick anymore? Go through, refresh your first aid kit every spring. So again, down in the description, I'll put some links to some key things I would highly recommend are always useful to have in a first aid kit. Now this one comes in this nice little cloth bag. What I do is I actually put it inside a larger Ziploc bag, again, just to keep everything dry and safe. Now the next thing I'm going to talk about, when I talked about water bottles, these are a great item. These are called life straws. You're out of water, there's no potable water, but hey, there's a puddle or there's a stream and you're just like, I'm not sure I want to drink out of that. These things are an amazing filter, and when you buy them, they will also donate money to giving these to communities that really are having issues with their potable water. So life straw, not terribly expensive. Again, link down below, but definitely something, it weighs almost nothing, and it's just going to be a lifesaver if you ever really need to try and figure out how to get some water. Doesn't hardly weigh anything, takes very little space in your pack. Why not? Now, the last thing that I'm going to talk about in the safety gear is a satellite communicator. Now, I use a product called Zoleo. There are a bunch of other different. InReach is another example. Now, the key thing to know about these devices, they are basically like a satellite modem. You use your phone, at least for the Zoleo, you use your phone to Bluetooth connect to this device, and then this device connects out to the satellites, and you set it all up in the software. The key thing to understand with any of these devices is you also have to pay for a subscription in order for it to be useful. So there's the initial cost, and again, I'll have a link to the Zoleos down below in my description, but you need to understand there is also a monthly or annual subscription fee you'll have to pay in order to use it. It's an emergency communication device. I've never had to use it in an actual emergency, but I have used it to communicate out on the trail when there's no cell reception, etc., just to let people know, hey, I'm okay, here's where I'm at. Now, because one of the things we love doing is geocaching, I'm going to recommend a couple of specific small tools to always have with you that are super useful for geocaching. Number one is a good pair of tweezers. Now, again, link in the description. I'm going to recommend you check out Landsharkz.ca, buy the products online, but a handy pair of decent sized tweezers. You're going to use it to extract log sheets out of caches. You're going to use it for, who knows, even getting slivers out if you have to. But a decent pair of tweezers definitely goes on the list. And the other one, now this is a bit unusual, but the other one is a magnetic extendable pickup tool. They're called pickup tools. They're usually used by mechanics in their garages to grab screws out of weird places where they fall when you're working on an engine or what have you. But these are great tools. Again, you can find it online at Landsharkz. This is a fantastic thing you can use to grab a geocache out of a odd location, and if it's fallen down in a tree or something like that. Anyways, great tool. Again, takes up hardly any space. Really good thing to have in your kit when you go out geocaching. All right, now the last two items I'm going to recommend that you have with you for any outing, whether it's for photography, hiking, geocaching, are some sort of light source. Do not use your smartphone as a flashlight. You're just going to waste battery. That is like an emergency thing, to use your smartphone as a flashlight. Always make sure you have proper flashlight with you. Now, I'm going to put a link in the description again for a brand and a model that I recommend, but getting a USB rechargeable flashlight that is weatherproof and has super bright Cobb style LED lights is absolute necessity. So I'll talk more in a different episode about flashlights and different ideas for them, but I always carry one of these. And here's the other thing, is a USB charged headlamp. Headlamps, they get your hands free. These things are so useful. Again, link in the description. Go check them out, see what you can buy that works for you. But definitely recommend having a headlamp. Hands-free is just the way to go, especially for night caches, or if you're working and doing some photography and it's dusk and you just can't quite see things, but you need your hands free. Again, headlamp, you'll never go wrong having a good USB rechargeable headlamp. So as we wrap up, I want to ask you, what is in your kit? What are the absolute must-have things that you carry that I didn't cover in my video? Please tell us in the comments down below. I would love to hear what you would recommend. And of course, if this video has been helpful, I encourage you to subscribe and also share with us other topics you would love to see us cover. So that's what's in my kit. That's what's in my go bag. And now it's time to get it back in the bag and let's go.